Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Orkmo Whiskey channel. I am your host, Candy. How's it going? And we're doing something a little bit different. Just a quick update. I have not updated my computer yet. I have fixed it a little bit. I just had to do a little bit of cleaning, both physically and on the actual computer itself, and it's running a little bit better. So I might be able to start getting back into recording and putting out videos. But don't expect anything too big. So right, currently I'm going to be doing kind of like a review type deal about maybe games that you haven't heard of or games that I myself have enjoyed. So one of them is Gnomeria, and it is a type of game that if you're looking for something a little bit more, what's it called? It's a little bit more complicated than RimWorld, depending on base RimWorld. If you want something a little bit more complicated, or at least a little bit more in control ish than RimWorld, but you don't want to go, but you want the textures of RimWorld. So this came out. This was a big hit with people because I believe a big thing was Dwarf Fortress at the time, and that was mainly a game for people who just cared about able to click on. It's kind of like a reading story. You could see your people move, and I honestly would recommend looking up a video of Dwarf Fortress. I don't own it because I never got into it. It was basically a 2D kind of thing where you can go up and down on the Z axis, and different symbols on on the keyboard would be displayed, and it would mean different either a river or something like that. It would be colored to, but there is also texture packs that you could do to change those out to be say mount like stone or trees, etc. But again, it was very flat. It was very 2D. So this is the kind of the in between. This came out before RimWorld, and this is a little bit more in depth. And I say this because let me do that. I say this because I've put actually quite a bit of hours into this game. As you can see, the hours I've played is rounded up or rounded to the nearest whole number is 110 hours of my life I've played on this game, and I loved it at the time I was playing it, and I don't think I've ever played it on this PC before. So I kind of want to bring that sense of another game that I grew up, especially if you like strategy games like RimWorld, but you kind of want a little bit more control over the details, not the people. So I'm going to start a new game, and I'm just going to do a standard kingdom size. You can randomize, you can name your kingdom. Uh, Grain cancer. Uh, we can start. There's advanced setups, so it gives you the side, the seed. It'll actually tell you where the center is, and usually the center is where your people and items will spawn. You can select mods if you want to add. So this depends on what the map looks like. So if you want a flat map instead of a tall map, that's completely fine. You could do that. And honestly, I think I'm going to do that. I'm just going to do a very flat map. Eh. If there's hills, I'm gonna do wide hills actually, and then you can either have a bumpy surface or a smooth surface. I like smooth surfaces, but bumpy surfaces or whatever. We have the difficulty, so I'm gonna play on normal. I'm not since I'm getting back into this. I'm not gonna try sudden death. Metal, so there's different metals in this game, and you can either have it shallow or deep. Metal amount, just normal. Enemy strength is one. This is basically the starting, or it adjusts it as it goes on, and of course you could do that yourself too. So uh, they actually implemented this after I stopped playing, like right after I stopped playing it, where you could build walls around, but they didn't have the AI to fix that. So they implemented it to where goblins, which is one of the enemies, will tunnel through your kingdom's walls in order to get to you, which that stops players from turtling, which is fine. Um, these are the enemies in the game, and there's wild animals, goblins, mants, which we're probably not going to see them because they're a later game enemy. Basically, they're man ants, and they're horrible golems, zombies, skeletons, beetles. and spiders. And these are these enemies are found in different places. I don't want to spoil it if you do want to pick up this game, but you could also have it to where you increase the enemy strength over time in addition to the kingdom's worth. So basically, how this game works is as your kingdom becomes more and more wealthy, kind of like RimWorld, the attacks get harder as it goes. So, for instance, goblins will attack you first, and there'll be no armor and really crappy weapons, or no weapons at all. And then, say you accumulate a lord, you build this lovely kingdom with bricks and all that stuff, and you have golden goblets for drinks. I don't actually think you could have that. But then when they come in, they're going to be wearing like plate armor with two-handed, good quality swords and all that stuff. And so it goes without saying that as you increase your wealth, the the raids will get harder and harder. The enemies will get harder and harder. And what I like personally is I love this feature is it has a preview of your map. So it's a 1.5 scale of your map. So it doesn't show you everything, but it takes a couple seconds to load and or a minute depending on what you're doing, and see, this is my map. It's nothing really extraordinary. um, there's probably some differences here and there. You can see there's water, etc., etc. And I see, I this is, you can tell, like, okay, I don't like that map. So what I would like to do is I would like to bump this up a little bit, bump that up just a little bit, and then preview it again. And this way you can kind of have it to where your map looks like you want it. This is this map right here. I like this. It's not too hilly, it's not too whatever, but at the same time, if you say you want a tall map with wide hills and all that stuff, and you preview it, well, that's what you're gonna get. So you can have structures going up into the sky, and look at this. You are basically in a valley. You have mountains. You have water. It's all this, and honestly, I love this game for this. But for this aspect, I'm just going to do a little bit of a flat map with some wide hills. I'm going to decrease the width of the hills just a tad bit, and then make it smooth. Have everything, and we are going to preview this, and then we will generate it, which will also give me time to explain a little bit about the mechanics behind this. I'm fine with that. So, unlike in RimWorld, or actually, we'll compare it a little bit. So again, this game did come out before RimWorld, just a little bit, but it also was semi-inspired by Dwarf Fortress, semi. And I say this because I feel like the people who made this game were like, okay, we love Dwarf Fortress, and we like how we could assign tasks, but you can't control the actual characters. But they wanted it more 3D, more textury, something someone can actually enjoy, who is actually a visual player, someone who actually enjoys the textures and all that, can actually sit down and play. Because a lot of the games at the time, or at least Dwarf Fortress at the time when it originally came out, the textures were literally pluses, minuses, P's, Q's, whatever, and those were represent certain parts or certain aspects of the map. So, like for instance, W would be a wall, a D would be a door, or something like that. And there's games that, again, there's mods that come out that fixes this, where it actually puts an icon or a little bit of an image that showcases it. And but again, some people don't like that kind of 2D top-down kind of style, and so they came up with this, or at least the creators popped out with this because they're like, okay, we'll take that idea and run with it. And so in this game, this is where the differences are. This is why I call it the midway point. Because in Dwarf Fortress, your players needed food, they needed water, they needed clothing, they had mental breaks that could lead to all kinds of sanity or insanity. In this game, um, they got rid of I believe they got rid of the sanity, the stress. So there's certain luxuries that you can give your people, but that's it. It's not gonna really do anything except for increase your worth, which is fine. And but in this game, you have to eat and drink, and they're sleeping. So if they sleep on the ground and stuff. In this game, also, it depends on the quality of sleep. So if they sleep on the ground, it's gonna take them longer to wake up than if they sleep on a nice, comfy bed. So, uh, and then in RimWorld, same thing. But that's mainly stress and food. This game, you have to worry about. Sorry about that. You have to worry about drink, which you can see up in the top left corner. The FPS is kind of blocking it, but you can see the depth, which is the z-axis, the food, which is how much food you have, and the drink you have. And those will deplete over time. So if you go, I use my scroll wheel. I kind of messed with the controls a little bit. So I went down, as you can see, -1. And I can go use my WAS to look, and this is the nice little lake we have. I can go up, going up, and same thing. Now, this might be too zoomed in for people, so I have it to where I hit Control, and I can roll my mouse wheel towards my palm, and it zooms out. It doesn't zoom out much, like I said, but this is the map we have, and it's not. I'll say this: it's not. What do you call it? It's not a like, oh my gosh, it's a beautiful map kind of deal. But I mean, it's got its own perks. We have trees and all that stuff. Now, I'm gonna zoom in here. So these are our population, and I know this video is gonna be probably 40 minutes, but it needs to be explained. So we have your population tab. It tells you population, how many deceased, how many are idle, injured, etc. It tells you the assigned skills of each. So right now we have a total of 9 people, and two of them miners, two of them masons, two of them stonecast, two of them woodcutters, carpenters, wood carvers, and these are just people that are assigned to these tasks. So don't actually uh, have this crazy, because there's 3 chefs and we only have 9 people. So right here is where you would assign your professions, and they have basic professions. So builder, it actually highlights their construction and hauling. So again, that's mainly what they're going to be doing: building, or construction and hauling. If not, they're just going to idle there. Same thing with the farmer. They're going to do cooking and all that stuff that's listed underneath when you hover over it. Miner, uh, rancher will do butcher, cooking, and hauling. Woodcutter will do all that stuff. And then you have the professions, a miner, and this is where you can actually combine, or at least set your own profession. So if I wanted a miner slash woodcutter, I could do that. I could do miner slash woodcutter, tell them to do stone or wood, and then I can actually set the priority to do what they want. This is the priority for it, and I can actually give them a uniform. Deceased tab is when your people die, and you can actually click on it and see what killed them. You have your. This is another thing I like. The stocks tab. So basically, in RimWorld, whatever you collect in the top left corner, there's that click where you can actually look and see everything you own. Now, in this one, you can actually choose. So right now, we're only tracking food and drink. But if I wanted to, I can actually go over to tracked items, click on, say, furniture, and say table. I want to see how many tables, and it'll do that for me. And I'll show you that when we actually get some items. But we do have to get going. So what I like to do is I like to set up near water for one, and I think right here would be fine. So what I like to do so I'll probably set up here and then have everything down here. So this is down in the bottom is where you're going to do a lot of your things. So for instance, terrain, I'm going to have my miners go over here, and I'm just going to have them, first I'm going to have them go over here and say remove ramp. And I'm going to remove all these ramps. And you'll see that the ones that are highlighted are the ones that they're going to remove. Now, a quick lesson is it's a little bit weird. So if I do this, you have to keep in mind that whatever ramp, if you're above, say, see, look, we're on depth 1 right now. So it's going to highlight every ramp from depth one and below it if you highlight it. So this is depth 0 and nothing's highlighted. But if I do this, it highlights depth 0 too. So you have to make sure about that. And now I have to figure out Another thing is when you have to click and then you drag. You don't do anything else with that. So I wish I could. I mean, that's fine. They can get rid of that. Keep them busy. So what I'm going to do is that after they do that, then I'll figure out. I'll have them mine right here, and just to make it nice flat surface, and then I'll have them go in. Another thing we have to do is we did start with the axe, and this is the usual start. You start with the axe, you start with some food, water, and seeds because actually you need seeds, and so on and so forth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a pasture up here for now, and as you can see, things do get in your way. So I'm just gonna do that. You have to select animal, and it will they will consume straw. So and we could actually control how many males and how many females exist. Personally, I like to say two males and maximum amount of females, because other than that, it's a pain. Which I can make this bigger, and you can add to this if you wanted to. You just have to go over here and make sure you click on the blue and expand it. So for now, that's what we're going to do. And then I'm going to actually go over here to agriculture and fell tree. And I'm going to fell, well, as much a tree as I can. And it's a little awkward. I'll tell you that. I'll give you that. It's a little awkward when you're telling people to fell trees and all that. So I'm actually going to clear out a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to forage. And I'm just going to see if I can forage anything. So anything that's green, so they're gonna forage these. I believe these are berries and also the apple tree. So they might not actually cut down the apple tree. Forage does take priority over cutting down, and you can also set up farms, underground farms, pastures, groves, plant trees, fell trees, take clippings, which is basically seeds of the trees, and it'll allow you to actually like plant your own grove of it. So you do that with, say, apple trees or something along those lines. And then you have your build tab, which we'll get into. So, of course, every time you start, it's the same thing. Space bar controls the speed. And so I'm going to do this, and you're going to see them go. Uh, so they're going to fill out their own little obligations that they feel like it. I'm going to have them keep removing this, and then once we get enough, I'm actually going to go over here, and I'm going to set up a little farm. So I'm going to set up a decent sized farm here. 33, that's fine. And wheat. So this number is how many wheat seeds we have. So I have 32 wheat seeds. I'm going to have them planted right away. And same thing with this. I'm going to make a nice long one, and I'm going to have them say, not wheat, strawberries. Because we do want to get food going. And I'm going to do another one, just a little small one. And for now, I'm going to actually suspend that one. So suspend. Until they go out and actually harvest some cotton. Because again, there is wild food around, and that'll keep your colony going, at least food wise. So, honestly, it plays just like RimWorld. So as time passes, they do level up, and if I can get over to someone, so if I go over here to Waspina Farmer, so that's her name. You can change her name if you want. It tells you the kingdom where she's from, she joined when, her race, gender, health, farmer status, what she's doing, etc. We could follow her if we wanted to. Health, equipment, anything she's wearing, skills. And this is where it gets into depth. So a lot of this stuff is whether, it depends on what you're doing. So there is traders, and that's usually what charm is for, is to be a trader. Or actually, I'm pretty sure the kingdoms that we trade with, which they are other kingdoms, is we have to send an ambassador over, or we have to send them a message saying, "Hey, we'll do something." And there's a little trick to that, and so that will be later if I ever do make a second episode of this. Maybe I will. It just depends on how this is received. Fighting, so she's 11, so she's okay, her best thing is the shield, so she would be definitely a good tank with a shield, but her armor's low. And as you can see, the mining and all the skills that she's good at. She's good at tailoring, she's good at weaving, and she's good with husbandry, farming, cooking, etc. Because, well, she's a farmer. So, and that is what we're doing. Now that we have some wheat seed or some cotton seeds, we can pop this and we can unsuspend it, and we can do priority. So I'm going to have that priority 6. The wheat farm is higher priority than everything else. I do like that because wheat takes the longest to grow, and then strawberry too. So everything does have a grow time also, and you have all these different things. Now, because our miners are indeed done, so that's an 11. I don't. Okay, there we go. So it's 11. So if we go to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there we go, 2 by 2. I'm going to bring this all the way back here because I'm going to set up a temporary home for us. And I'm hoping that we run into something that I wish we have. It does not look like we're going to be lucky. Okay, so the thing I'm looking for is actually stone, and stone is just, it's needed. It's really needed for special things, and I'm actually going to just do something like that, and we're going to make, this is the stockpile room basically. Now that we do have storage options such as the bag, which is for plant matter, and we also have storage options for the what's it called, logs and stone, and that's in the boxes, or liquid, which is in the barrels. And that's usually mainly for, the barrels are for, you don't really store water in barrels, you do it a different way. But that's where you still store your ale, your yak milk, if you once you milk them, and so on and so forth. Dirt clumps, stone clumps, stuff like that do actually stack, like they stack to themselves. And we would actually have to go down a level for us to actually get to what I want. Now, you're not stuck to this image, so what you could do is, a couple things I thought is E, which gets rid of all the undiscovered zones. So you can actually see everything below it, which is nice. And then F actually makes all the walls have, so you can see everything around it. And I'm going to pause the game real quick. And I'm going to designate this a stockpile. I'm going to bring it down, bring it over. I do not want to, there we go. And I'm going to just say everything goes in here because I just want this to be the general stockpile. And then, see, I can't really tell, like I could tell if it's blue, but if you really want to tell, you're going to have to change this in the settings, but I changed it to the direction arrow on my, direction arrow. So you can actually change the view you have, and you can just do that. Just, again, be careful because the way they have it is a little bit janky when you set up a stockpile. So you can change the view if you want and all that. So now that I've set up the stockpile, people will actually come that are not busy and see he's picking up all the dirt and he's rearranging it to be more, I would say, clean. But I need him to do a little bit better. Something a little bit better for him would be to mine down. And so I'm going to change my perspective and I'm going to have him go over here, this, dig. And then I'm going to have, say, dig ramp down. I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to say dig hole for everything else. And this will, in turn, dig down. See, he's made a ramp so they can actually get down there now. I don't know why it went like that. Maybe I didn't set up the tool right. But when he mines something like this, and that's another thing to keep in mind. Unless someone's stuck on top, they will mine straight down, but they will not fall down. Okay, so now we have a little, we went down a layer, and they have a way to get up. And so I'm going to repeat the process, get a better look, because you do not want to remove the stairs. And I'm pretty sure you could just do this and just highlight everything and go across. But again, you have to be careful because, well, uh, you can highlight stuff to the left and right of it, and they'll do that when they get down there. So now we're down a layer more, and you could switch these out for stairs too. But stairs are generally, uh, they're generally stone or wood or something of that nature. And so now what we could do is, I'm actually gonna go down a little bit further. And they're still up here doing their work. Now I am going to give the builders something to do. So before you build really anything, is I'm gonna go to storage, and you do start with a couple of items. So crates, I'm gonna have them build the 3 crates there. Barrels, same thing, and then bags, same thing. And the builders will go out, grab those, and plant them. And we did get some yak milk, so one of the female yak we have did indeed produce milk. And then, after they're done with that, I'm going to have them at least set up a place for 2 crude workbenches. So this is the first workbench you're ever going to get. And you do rotate items like that with R. So you set up 2 crude workbenches like that. And the problem is that we're lacking raw stone. And that's what I'm looking for. Is I'm going down, and usually in mountains you would able to find it relatively quickly as long as they're high, tall mountains really. And so I'm gonna not gonna go that way, but I'm gonna expand this out a little bit, and then I'm going to start. Oh, I'm gonna start probing basically, and I'm just going to shoo, and then just same thing over here. Because other than stone, there's also coal and metals that you can find down here also, and you can actually turn this into a stockpile for stuff that's a little bit not needed. So, for instance, when you have like a large sum of say dirt, you could store it down here because you don't need that dirt. All right, so to me, at least in the general vicinity, and I'm actually going to do a little probe this way too, because we might get lucky. Uh, but to me, it looks like there is no stone to be found here whatsoever. We'll see if we get lucky. No. So what we're going to do is we are going to dig stairways down, and I believe we could just do rotate it, and I'm gonna do something like that. No, no, because that's I'm gonna just do it like this. So it's a 3x3. I'll have them dig away when they do, and they're gonna haul all their light, and that's why I like doing this with some tall mountains because it's easy to get stone and it's right there, and I do like having kind of like a dwarf tall base kind of. But as we go down, I'm probably gonna bring this down a little bit, like a lot of it. So this will be 6, and I'll probably go down, say like one more layer once they figure out. And again, the ramps, you want to build the ramps or they're not going to be able to get out, and that will, trust me, that will suck. And see, this is another conflict right here, is that they actually have to dig out the area before I do anything. There we go. And you can do stuff manually by right-clicking twice, and you can say, okay, I want to build something, and then you can click it like that way too. But when they're down here, once they finish, and as you can see in the bottom left, it also gives you stuff. So they've been working out through the night, and as you can see, they've fallen asleep, and our food has gone down, our water, our drink has gone down a little bit. And that's our main issue at the moment, is the water, because, or at least the drink. Because right now, I'm pretty sure all we have is ale, which, don't get me wrong, is delicious. But We don't have the requirements to make ale yet because we don't have a kitchen set up. We can't do that because we don't have stone. So, and we can't get water from the well because we have to make a well, which also requires stone. So, as you can see, it's a little bit daunting. And again, you can play this as whatever you want. If you just want to play on peaceful mode and build a great kingdom, you could do that. And there's all things you can build. If you go over here, you can build the workshops. So you got the sawmill to get lumber, carpenter to build workbenches, chairs, all that stuff. Wood carver, and that's where you get stuff that you could sell. So like puzzle boxes, sculptures, same thing. It makes the stone. Stone maces turns into tables or chairs, and stone carver turns it into fancy items like loom is clothing. Tailor shop is usually either you can do armor or you can do other things. This is where you would find where you would put the the bed making because you do actually have to make the bed, so you would need cotton. Cotton has to go into string. String has to you have to make the actual mattress itself, which you have to stuff it with straw, and then you actually have to combine that with a bed frame to make a bed. And again, it is a little daunting when it comes to this. With distillery, that's where you would make your drink. The kitchen is where you prepare food. Well is your first water source. Gem cutter, jeweler, you can make jewelry. Furnace, forge and smelter, and blacksmith. All this stuff is where you make your metals and your weapons and armor. Armor. Tinker bench is where you can actually make traps. Machines, same thing. Engineer, this is where you make your traps. And honestly, I believe you might be able to make golems. Don't quote me on that. Kiln is where you can make charcoal. Leather, sorry, that's where you make your leather armor. Market stall is where you would get uh, just build a market stall, and then once you make diplomatic negotiations with another kingdom, they'll actually send over a market or someone to sell stuff to you, and you can buy different seeds. Honestly, there's mushroom seeds, there are grape seeds. There's all these other things. There's different animals too. Bone carver, you can turn bones from either animals or enemies into either armor, weapons, or I believe actually you need a bone needle for the loom or the textile worker prospector. He goes around and figures out. I believe he no he turns dirt and clay into usable materials such as copper or whatever. Training grounds is where you would train your people. There's different mechanisms which we don't have at the moment. Furniture, we have wooden doors, and currently you can do this out of whatever you have. So I don't know if you saw upstairs. I'll go up there because they're all sleeping anyway. Um, we have different type of trees. Can someone catch that yak, please? Okay, no, he's just going out for adventure. I hope he doesn't leave. So we have different trees, and thus we have different logs. And certain woods make certain things beautiful. So, like for instance, apple trees will drop apple wood, and that apple wood is generally a lot nicer, or even more exotic, is orange wood, and that would sell for more. It also depends on the quality of it, because people can make masterwork or very high quality boxes and stuff of that nature, and these are the clippings. So you these pine logs goes to pine lumber. And this sounds like a daunting task because you have to queue up all these things. Well, they implemented something really nicely, and that's why I've been trying to show it because uh, it's something I would like to show you. And basically, they have a system set up to where, like for instance, the two things I have upstairs, the crude workbenches, I built them, and it needs any log and any stone. And so that's what I'm looking for. We have logs, we have stone, or we need stone. So that's what I'm looking for. And that's what I'm going to try to find with by doing this. And the moment we get those pieces of stone, they're going to take that stone, go up there and make that, and it's set up that way. So if I want to build, say, a carpenter, I can put that down, and I can actually go over here to work. I'll actually show you. Carpenter, I could select a specific workbench, like a pine workbench, a pine chair, I don't know, a granite chisel, and I can go and pop that down once. once I've made those items once before, and it will automatically set up crafting in the other workbenches to make that happen. And you could do that with actual workbenches too. Okay, where seriously, where's the stone? Like, I really want to show you guys this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do something drastic, and I'm just gonna go, hey. Okay, so this actually shows me that there's a cave here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to pop that, and I know there's a way to deconstruct, so remove, uh, designate areas. I can't think of it right now, but there is a way to get rid of those. I'm just blanking. So I'm really hoping that we can get there. And there's different type of things. There's clay too, and I'm pretty sure with clay you can fire clay up and make clay walls out of ceramic, etc. I need them to get over here so we can actually look down into the thing. And this is where I like to pop the half walls because I think it opens it up a little bit more. You can still see what's under it. And here we go. Okay, so there's stone right there. It's okay, so we have to go down two things. So I'm going to set that up. We are going to go dig ramp. I'm going to say just dig this whole thing. And that's another thing is we can actually remove and make a huge tunnel, or at least a tunnel going down if we want to. It's just going to take a little bit because the floor is an entity. So in order to say not having floating, say you're just deconstructing a mountain, you would have to go remove the floor, remove the dig down or remove the ramps, and then from there uh, keep going and remove the rest. Usually when you say remove the ramps or say even dig ramps, it'll remove it for you. So if I select a whole small mountain and it's flat, say remove ramp, it'll get rid of everything. As long as there's no trees or anything blocking the removal process, you can do that. And I guess I picked a wrong map to show you guys this because I really wanted to show you this aspect of it because this is something I thoroughly enjoy. Oh, and I probably selected too much things at the moment. There it is. We have stone. We have stone. And that's what we've been looking for. And yep, I'm just gonna let them do their thing. So over here is I can then select this and be like, mine a bunch of stone. And who knows, we might find something in this stone. And I think we have. Yeah, right there. So that right there is, I believe, coal. So now that we have stone, and you could tell the difference. So she has mining level 32. He, on the other hand, no, that's the stone wall. Uh, he has 36, and it also is different on what you're mining. So right now, this is what, marble? When he gets over to say copper or something like that, first it's going to it'll take longer because copper is different. So now we should be able to, and now we can actually see because I'm actually going down more, and what we have silver, we have more copper. That's more silver. Lapis lazuli layer, which is there's copper there. This I have actually no idea what this stone is. Oh, bauxite floor. We have serpentine. So there's a lot of different walls too, or blocks that you can actually get. And here over here, I believe is copper. Um, and now that we have all these items, yep, that was coal. See, we can go back up top. We can go over here, and they've made this. So now I can show you the crafting. And honestly, I'm pretty sure that's I'll probably call it at that. And we'll see how this is. So is a crew crafting bench, and in here you make your basic stuff: plank, chair, workbench, chisel. Those are the things you need. So I want to make a birch log because we have the most of that. And I'm gonna say craft. Now when it's done, this is automatically clicked, on this. So basically, if I and I can now that's over here in craft, I can say repeat. I can so they'll just keep on repeating this, making as many of these birch planks as possible. I can say craft two, and it'll pop up with a number, and I'll be like, all right, 20. Give me 20 of those. Then chairs, etc., etc. Chisel. I'm gonna craft chisel. I'm going to just have him craft to say five, five with marble. So you can designate. See, and here's where it gets a little tricky. I already hit craft, so this doesn't matter. So I can cancel. I have to cancel this. I have to select marble if you want something specific. Marble chisel, and then over here, five. Done. And that's what he will do. Now, if I go over here and go to craft workbench and say craft workbench, it's gonna say any plank. And I'm gonna say craft, and I could again select, but it's also gonna say craft ingredients. Now you can turn this on and off. I'm gonna actually turn it off because I want it to be specific. It's going to take 6 planks and then a chair. Same thing. Gonna turn it off. So basically, the person here is going to make the planks and then they're gonna turn it turn it into a workbench and or chair. Actually, it'll be a workbench first because that is higher in the queue. So again, you could queue, you can move things up and down, move the top, you can cancel them. So what I meant in the beginning about a little bit more control in this game is really the furniture, because the aspect changes when you build something with something else. As you can see, they built that with a pine log or a birch log, and they built this over here with, a I believe a what was that, an apple? No, no, that's a pine log. Okay, so they built this one with a pine log, but this one they built with a birch. So as you can see, the aesthetic of the game changes depending on what you pick, and I like that a little bit more because in this game, when you go to build and say you want to say build terrain, build a wall, there's soil, there's different soil, which that's usually just soil or clay. There's different stones, raw stone walls. You can have log walls. You can have block walls when you start making stone blocks. And then there's different types of stone walls, such as decorative, chiseled, engraved, star, moon, water, etc. There's carved walls. There's planked walls, metal wall, thatch wall, bone wall, which if you really want to flex on your enemies, build a tower that's just made out of their bones. Ceramic wall. You can. There's a lot of things you can do to customize how you want to build, and you can build scaffolding to help them, ramps, stairs, etc. I can't show you mechanics because I haven't set up that workbench. We haven't made any. There's again the different furniture. There's different aspects of this game that you want to do, and especially with designated area, you can have a stockpile, agriculture, which splits up. You can have a room which could split up to a personal quarters, a dormitory, a dining area, or a hospital. Which I don't know why a hospital has like the fork and knife. Um, you can have guard or the guard area. You can have patrol routes. So this is why I say if it's a little bit more intuitive than base game RimWorld in some aspects when it comes to building your actual colony. It's a little bit more intuitive, and it does actually have up and down. So if you want to go deeper into the earth, you can actually make a mountain home if you so choose to, or you can make a hobbit hole for each and every one of your people. You can make a city. You can do whatever you want because you have that Z axis. You can go up and down, right? X, Y, yeah, Z axis. I believe I believe it's Z. You have that depth that you can do, and there's different things you can do. The water itself has water mechanics, so I'll show you what I mean, and I'm gonna do this safely. Are they still down there? Maybe they are. Are you trapped? Oh, you're trapped. Okay. See, this is what I meant. I got too into it. And I have trapped my people. I've trapped a couple of them, and one's thirsty. And so this is another where I would have to tilt the camera. And then what I could do is I could just, again, mine up right here. Okay, my bad. Maybe I have to actually mine the block first. Again, there's a little bit of hiccups here and there, of course, but you're able to solve them pretty quickly once you figure it out. So I'm gonna do that. He's gonna go over there. Go up there and mine it out. Okay. Well, this is a test world, so I've shown you what it is. There is a few quirks with the game, and again, it is a older game than Allow Rimworld, and don't quote me on this. I'm pretty sure it's actually not being updated, or the last update was the Tinkers and the Traps. So again, I don't think it's a game that it will probably get a lot of updates. So if you're looking for a game that gets a lot of updates, new content, then this is probably not a game for you. Same thing with RimWorld. If you think RimWorld is a little bit more is complicated with how everything's set up, then again, I don't believe you would like this. But I do say give it a try. I'm just throwing this out there because this is a game I grew up on, and I loved this game. This was back when I had my first laptop, and I loved playing this. I'm just glad that it doesn't take forever to load a world anymore. And I just love how they kind of mixed it with Dwarf Fortress, and it's kind of that midpoint from Dwarf Fortress to RimWorld. And of course, this game also has mods that you can install, and people have worked on, etc., etc. So if you like what you see, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. I love hearing from you guys. Furthermore, if you want actually a series on this, leave a comment. I will do a series on this. Of course, there'll probably be skips through it because it does take a long time. Or if you guys want the whole thing, which is probably what's going to happen. So usually on the 10th day or the 5th day or something along those lines, or the 7th day of from when you start is when your first enemies do come, but again, that's later. I just want to do a little snapshot of just the game, the starting game, and who knows, I might do another video on maybe the end game, and we'll see how that goes. So, again, I hope you guys are having a great day, and I will see you guys next time.